Hello everyone, Dr. Maiden here with more virtual office hours content, more requested content from you. This is going to be a quick video all about ideas for how to fill your summers during your PhD program. Okay, so this was requested content. Someone asked, particularly in the light of COVID pandemic, feeling like, what do I do for my summer? What are some creative ideas of how I can still move forward and still be productive during my summers if I can't do something like travel abroad? So I have a list. I put together a list of 7 things that I think you could take any of these 7 things, 7 ideas of summer activities. Some of them are going to be domestic, that you would be doing them here in the US, and some of them could be either something you do here in the US or in some cases they would be something you do abroad. But I figured I'd just do the video all at once. Some of these are going to be more useful for the current COVID climate than others, but I'm just going to make the video anyway so that they're all there together. So 7 things. Let's start with number 1. The first one that you can do if you're thinking of how to fill my summer time for my PhD, you could do something like volunteer over the summer or work over the summer. And I would be very strategic. I'm not saying just go like volunteer for the Salvation Army or some local pet adoption place. Be very strategic about where you're trying to volunteer, where you're trying to work, and make it make sense to your program of study. So, for example, I knew, because I would be doing a lot of intensive ethnographic fieldwork on the ground in Malawi, I knew that I could not do that until I built out some type of relationship with a nonprofit that was already working there. I knew that I would need to have that inroad, right? You can't just waltz in to most places in Malawi, waltz into a village and be like, hello, tell me your hopes and dreams, right? That's not going to happen. You have to have some kind of connect, some kind of in. So for me, I was very strategic about looking for opportunities to get involved with whether it was a Malawi-based NGO or nonprofit or an organization that worked in Malawi. And I ended up finding one, a fantastic one. It's called Malawi Matters, if you wanted to look it up. Found a fantastic one. I ended up being able to do some preliminary work with them. I ended up doing it, it wasn't a summer trip, it was a trip that I did in February. Ended up going with them. It was great for getting that ball moving, getting the connections that I needed so that I'd be ready come time for my dissertation proposal to actually be able to say, yeah, I think I can do this. I have connections now, I have an in, right? So be strategic with your volunteer work. So I know in a case of another colleague of mine in a cohort below me, he knew he was going to be working closely with local representatives here in the US. So he was getting cozy with them long before the dissertation proposal process started. He was going there in his summers, he was spending time, he was volunteering. Think of something like intern in a congressperson's office. If you're gonna then need those contacts to get your work done, lay that groundwork early. Okay, so that's number 1, volunteer or work, but make it strategic to your project and to your goals. Number 2 and 3 are kind of combined here in the world of research. So number 2 could be maybe you're going to do something like some archival research. So whether you need to travel somewhere, depending on if that's the type of research that you do, where you'd have some type of archival component. Take a summer to try and get that done. Win a small grant, go and spend your couple of weeks doing any preliminary research that you need to do. So if you need to go to the Library of Congress, if you need to go to some random archive because you do something with Italian politics, so you need to be in Rome, whatever it is, plan out, particularly when it's in the pre-dissertation proposal stage, anything that you can do that's laying the groundwork for that project and making you feel like you really have a handle on what's available to you so that you could go back later when you're in full dissertation stage and really be getting that done. That's something you could do earlier. Do that little archival trip, scout it out, see what's available, see how easy things are to access, and move from there. Another one then, my number 3 is, rather than focus on your own project, be a research assistant. And so this could be particularly for the student that's asking, what do I do now in this time of COVID when I feel trapped, I can't travel? Turn to your faculty, turn to the faculty that you have in your department and start begging. Start begging for a research position, help a faculty member think out how you could build yourself one, and be open and be honest and say, this is the situation I'm in. Throw me a bone. You might not even need an RA on this project, but please God, let's help make one. So I have something that I can be saying that I am doing that's moving me forward. And you never know where different research assistant positions can lead you to. I have been parts of one where I felt like, okay, I was there and I did something, but nothing really came of it, and it kind of fizzled, whether it was the professor's time fizzled or the project fizzled. But I was a part of another one where it led to a publication, right? It led to a publication with my name on the list. It wasn't just an acknowledgement. I was a co-author on the publication. So you never know where that can lead, and that publication then can be really useful. In my case, it's not the type of work that I would lead and research on my own, but the fact that I could say I was on that project every step of the way, and it is relevant to my research interests, and I was able to tie it in, right? You never know where they can lead. So whether it's just doing it so that you're proving to your university that you're checking off that box, that you're doing the research assistant position, and try as best you can to be strategic with research positions as well, that they are benefiting you. Even if it's not perfectly aligned with, say, your dissertation goals, it probably won't be, but you can still make the most of it, and you can still contribute and maybe learn some new skills and just see a project, see the way one of your faculty mentors moves a project from start to finish. And that's a really worthwhile skill to be building as well. Like monkey see, monkey do. Watch them do it, help them through the process, collaborate, right? It's very useful. Number 4 and 5 then are kind of interesting. They're camps. There's summer camps that you can do. So number 4 is math camp. So if you've not heard of this one before, it's called ICPSR. It's the Summer Program in Quantitative Methods Research. It's hosted out of the University of Michigan. They do 4-week programs. They offer 2 sessions of 4-week programs. They're very intensive programs, and you can do everything. It's summer camp, right? It's school, it's summer school, and it's crash courses in these things, in-depth dives, moving very quickly. You can do stats, regression analysis, formal modeling, network analysis, depending on the faculty that they have each summer. The plan of study can change a bit. The offerings they have can change a bit, but that one can be very useful. And in a lot of cases, ask your university, ask your department, not just your university, your department, before you would apply to something like this. And it is open to non-political science majors. I know some sociologists that have done this, etc. That anything, because it's social sciences, summer program in quant methods research. It doesn't have to just be political scientists. And where I'm saying talk to your department, it is possible that they already have like a relationship with ICPSR, where they might even have something set up where they get to send 1 or 2 students, and the university will front those costs for you. Or it can be like a tuition not pairing, but you know what I mean? Like it can be a deal where your department can say, yeah, we have the funds, or we have the ability to send 1 person each summer. Try and get yourself to be that person, right? Get that slot so that you're not having to scramble the funds on your own to go. Number 5 then is the other version of summer camp that you can do that's called IQMR. And I'll link both of these options below here for you to see. IQMR, Institute for Qualitative and Multimethod Research. This is hosted out of Syracuse University. It tends to be a bit shorter. It's more of like a 10-day program. And again, it runs the gamut depending on who they have teaching it that summer. Qualitative research methods, GIS, experiments, ethnographic work, causal inference, you name it. Lots of different workshops you can do on multi-methods research. A very useful one as well, and not just for political scientists. Anyone that is doing social sciences can benefit from this one as well. So these are 2 summer camp options that you can say, you're doing that are really moving you forward and preparing you for a dissertation stage. You're building up those skills you need to dive into your dissertation and be the most successful. Number 6, then, it might not be of use to everyone here, but whether you're doing something like political theory, possibly international relations, definitely comparative politics, you might be wanting to consider language training. You might be needing an immersive experience or an intensive experience of language training. So depending on what language you're pursuing, you could think of something like, if it's an international experience that you're looking for, something like the Critical Language Scholarship is a summer-only scholarship, summer programs, intensive summer programs, but you have to be doing a critical language. And for that one, you'll have to be thinking about applying a year in advance. Linked to that would be, even if you don't do something like, maybe what you're needing is something like a French or a Spanish, there's not going to be a critical language program option for that. So I would honestly go to your undergrad study abroad office. Go to your university study abroad office. Most universities in the US have programs already established for summer intensive study of languages like French, like Spanish. You could ask them, what are the options here? Can grad students apply for this? Is there any funding for grad students to get the same type of tuition remission or tuition matching that undergrads can get? You've just got to ask. You've got to ask and see what their options are. In most cases, they are flexible. Anytime that I've ever had, friends or colleagues that I know that do those types of programs, they will be flexible and work with grad students as well. Other things that you can do, again, because of the time of COVID, you can be thinking about what are some in-country, some US in-country intensive, immersive language experiences. And there are quite a few. You just have to research them for the language that interests you. The one I'm thinking of in particular that's a really, it's got a great reputation. The University of Florida hosts an African languages flagship program. And so it's a summer intensive program. Very often they are pairing the work that they do with something like the CLS or the Boren Scholarship, that you would do intensive in-country, US in-country language training here at the University of Florida before you would be sent overseas to continue your training. That is African languages specific. So I think there's about 7 languages on that list. So you just need to look around. If what you're needing is a French version and you can't go to France because of the COVID restrictions, do some Googling and you might find one that maybe it's more of like a community focused one. It could be open to even high school level. Just look around. Do some Googling, find one. There are quite a few immersive language experiences. In some cases, they're even putting you with host families, etc., where you really can feel like you're getting that immersion in the language, even while staying here in the US. The last one that I'll say then, number 7 on the list of things you can think of doing during your summer, is set up an independent study for yourself. And there's a couple of things that this can be really useful for. I did this. I know quite a few of my colleagues have done this, particularly as you're right on the edge of preparing to do your dissertation proposal. Set up a summer independent study for yourself. This can be good for comp prep as well. So if you want to do something like you're going to have a comp question that's all about conflict in Africa, set yourself up an independent study the summer before you'd be planning to do that comprehensive exam, and you just pound out those readings. Pound out the readings. You'll have a couple of assignments, right? You'll work with whatever the faculty mentor is to create the assignment list for you, but use it to your advantage, right? Use the time to your advantage to do something like prep for a comprehensive exam, prep for your dissertation proposal, use the independent study session that you set up to do all of the groundwork readings you need to do that you're going to have to plan to do for your dissertation. All of the theory background, all of the case study background, throw it in, cobble it into an independent study. And another reason why this can be really helpful is pick one of the faculty mentor for it. have it be someone that you want to be on your dissertation committee. So you're building out that relationship sooner and feeling like, yeah, we've worked together. They already know where my head's at with this. They already know what direction I'm going with this. They helped me navigate this independent study. I feel ready to do my dissertation proposal, and they're going to be on the committee. They're already committed to be on the committee because of the work we've already done together. Okay, so that is 7 things that you can think of. And I know not all of them are going to work right now because of COVID. I know not all of them might be relevant to you, but it's 7 things you can keep in mind of how to fill those summer hours. Okay, I'll be coming with more videos very soon with more requested content, so stay tuned.